Good morning, and welcome back to another episode on Halloween, All Hallows Eve, here on Energy the Untamed Heart podcast. I'm your hostess Miel, and today, because it's Halloween, I just wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about trick-or-treat and energy, and what do you think, and changing of the seasons, and changing of the energetic universal energy associated with the month, and all the things for a few minutes, because I have a lot to say about this. So this time of year, depending on where you live in the hemispheres, is a shift and change of the seasons. We're going from the end of our harvest season in the autumn or fall, and we're moving into the winter season, where honestly, I think there's so much that goes on that we don't see because the ground is typically covered by things like snow and leaves, and it looks like nothing's going on with the branches bare, and for a lot of people, they find that to be a difficult time of year. But what I would love to suggest here is that perhaps sometimes what we see visually with our eyes and what is really going on from an energetic standpoint are two very different things, and that what we see is truly what is projected by our choices as opposed to anything else. And that's another story for another day. But let's just take it on basics. Many of us live in geographic locations where we have a change of seasons. And whether your change is very obvious, like here where I live in Northeast Vermont in the United States, we actually have more than 4 seasons. We're blessed with almost 6 seasons. We have the typical 4 of winter, spring, summer, and fall, and then we're blessed with mud season, and we're also blessed with stick season. So for us, our running joke up here is we actually are blessed with an extra 2 seasons. So let's talk about this. If you were planting your garden, if you were harvesting and creating nourishment for your family, let's say, you're going to make plans over the winter months of what you're going to put in the ground come the spring. You're going to create the space come early spring or late fall, depending on where you live, so that that ground can be more fertile when you place your seeds or your plantlings there in the late spring, summer. Then, through the beauty of summer, we're going to have a lot of growth, a lot of shift, a lot of change. And then that produce or product or flowers or food or whatever one is planted is going to be harvested again in the fall. And then what we call put the garden, put the whatever to bed for the season. To bed for the season doesn't mean you ignore it. It means that it is being laid to rest so that it can rejuvenate its needs through the next season and be prepared for the growth the following year. So what does this have to do with October, November, and Halloween? In life, for me, I believe that we are not only a product of our current life, that we are here to experience as a soul and a human expression, but we are absolutely influenced by our ancestors, by our environment, by our surroundings, by those who've come before us, and the journeys that they have taken. Why do I think? Because I believe everything is energy, and I believe everything is stored as energy, and that our cellular human makeup is energy. I also believe that we can create shifts in how we can show up through epigenetics. So for lots of reasons, this time of year, to me, is important, not just because it's fun to watch the little kids run around all dressed up in costumes, which it is, but I also think about this whole concept of knocking on people's doors and saying trick or treat. I think that's like the question of life to me. Everything you do, hey, I wonder how this is going to pan out. I wonder if I'm going to perceive this as, oh, the world is happening to me, it's a trick, or look what the world is presenting for me, it's a treat. So every choice you make is really like a Halloween question. Hey, trick or treat. And it's sort of up to you. I don't think little kids go knocking on Mrs. Smith's door and say trick or treat and think they're going to get something bad in their little plastic pumpkin. They say trick or treat because that just happens to be what our tradition is. But what do you think they're hoping for? What do you think they're wishing for? A big old chocolate candy bar. Hello. So again, we say trick or treat because that's our tradition. But where is the energy from these children coming from? It's coming from within, with the joy and bliss of the excitement and curiosity. What happens when I go knock on Mrs. Smith's door? What's gonna be on the other side? What great gift is going to be bestowed to me when I put my little plastic pumpkin forward, or my pillowcase, or whatever one trick or treats with these days, to see what gift will be given? And to me, that is kind of the energetic approach to how could we potentially move through this world. Everything happens every day. Some things you feel are out of your control. Some things you feel are in your control. Hey, it's a choice. Who knows? It is what it is. And you do have some capacity to make some shifts and changes depending on what your choices are. But again, you can look at the whole world and your experience in the world just like Halloween. Is it trick or treat? Is it a celebration of one season's growth and harvest moving into the next? So this combination of Halloween and the basically westernized tradition of asking for candy and sweets and treats, that's just sort of morphed out of what the real meaning originally was of Halloween, and the experience and recognition and honoring of those who have gone before us and the lessons that they have shared and provided for us in this lifetime. There's a piece of that is absolutely a part of this season. There's energetically a piece of recognizing the shift and change through the divine timing cycle of ending of cycles, beginning of cycles. That's what we're experiencing between October and November. And if you're curious about the numerology piece of that, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to share. So this is a window of time, honestly, where you can choose it. Do you want to see it? Trick or treat. What would you like? I personally happen to move through the world thinking the whole thing's one big treat. I'm like, wow, look at this. This is like a little treasure hunt. I wonder what's going to happen today. And why do I move through the world that way? Because I move through the world with curiosity. I move through the world, hopefully, with some awareness. And when I have awareness, I have the capacity to make choices that work in my best interest for what I would like to do with my world, in my life. So do I have boohoo moments? Boo. Of course I do. Everybody does. But again, you can decide, do you want those to shape you? Or do you want those just to be your learning speed bumps in the road and you keep on moving along? So for those of you who are taking your children out, all the best. Please don't eat them too much candy. One, it rots your teeth, and two, it makes them really spazzy, and then they don't sleep. So, be cautious. Be aware of where you go. Be aware of how much sugar your kids are eating. And have yourself a great time. Those of you who celebrate Samhain, or Samhain is actually how it's technically pronounced, which is basically a recognition of the shift and change of the seasons as we're leaving one season, moving to the next at this time of year, and embracing that shift and change. Happy Samhain to you. And for those who celebrate the moon cycles, we have a new moon tonight. So there's a lot of movement, a lot of energy going on. And for those in the numerology world, we are making a huge transitional shift from a 9 to a 1. And I'm going to leave it there. Just a lot going on this last week of October. So with that, make it a good one. And I will catch you all next week with a new episode here on Energy of the Untamed Heart podcast. Sending so much love to you all.